Well, I had met a young lady, and come to find out it was Adrian's sister.
Oh,
about that.
So you slept with her sister. It's not a good feeling. And to have somebody come in and out of your life, it's not fair. If you're gonna be her daddy 24/7. Don't pick and choose your days.
The court session begins as Judge Lauren reads the case of Ms. Walters and Mr. Rogers. They both give their affirmative answers. Mr. Rogers' mother is present as a witness to support him. The judge asks Ms. Walters why she is convinced that Mr. Rogers is the father of her son.
I slept with another man weeks prior to even conceiving my son, and we did use protection. And at the time I conceived my son, he was the only person that I was having sex with without using protection.
She answers the judge and gives a background story of her relationship with Mr. Rogers and his family. Mr. Rogers tells the court how he found out about Ms. Walters' pregnancy. He goes further to explain what his first reaction was. Out of curiosity, Judge Lauren asks him questions.
She texted me one day, sent me a picture while I was at work, and it was a sticky note that says 6 weeks pregnant. I text back, congratulations, tell the other guy congratulations.
Mr. Rogers makes a statement. Since the conception, pregnancy, and birth of Ms. Walters' son, Mr. Rogers and his mother claim that both families are no longer experiencing the joy they once had as friends.
Her dad and I were best friends. We took family trips together. All that's been ruined since all this has happened.
So the truth is you all grew up like brother and sisters,
Yes,
cousins.
that was my home away from home. I mean,
Yep.
I was always with them.
Like you can see in that picture, like we was friends, we was happy. We was best friends growing up, literally best friends.
She was like one of my children, Your Honor.
Ms. Rogers is upset with the situation. She asserts that she wasn't aware of the relationship between her son and Ms. Walter. She goes ahead to tell the courtroom how she found out.
Did you know if Miss Walters was intimate with anyone else?
Yes. Later on, I did because I found a bunch of condoms in her stuff when I went through it.
Mr. Rogers explains that he is confused about why he is on child support when it has not been proved that he is the child's father.
All right, I was not in the delivery room when he was born, so therefore my name is not on that birth certificate. I've had no DNA but DNA established the whole time he has been in this world. How am I on child support? There's been no DNA, no birth certificate signed. There is no connection to me and that boy as him being mine at the moment.
But there's been a court date.
The judge asks Jerome to call in the witness for the case. It's surprising who this witness turns out to be.
Thank you for joining us. Please state your name for the court.
Rochelle Rogers.
And Ms. Rogers, you are Ms. Walters' best friend.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you known one another?
22 years.
Last name Rogers?
Yes.
Sounds familiar.
Yes, ma'am, that's my sister.
The witness explains her relationship with Ms. Walter, which moves the judge to ask her more questions.
So you and Ms. Walters are best friends because you all grew up together?
Exactly. She was in the house every other weekend, every summer, all the time. I went up there, she came down here, we were together all the time. Every bit that we could be together, we could be together.
And you're still best friends today?
Yes, we are.
Your Honor.
Ms. Roger, Mr. Rogers' sister, continues to tell the courtroom about what happened when Ms. Walter discovered she was pregnant. She also tells the audience why she doesn't believe Ms. Walter's son belongs to her brother.
She comes home, she breaks down on the floor crying because she finds out she's pregnant. The time she does not know who the father is.
When the judge finds out that Mr. Roger has another child from another woman, she proceeds to ask him a question. He answers her question directly and explains why he cannot be the father to Ms. Walter's son.
Yes, Your Honor, I have a
He was
4-year-old
young and-
son also.
So were you denying that you were the father because you didn't want any more responsibility, or did you truly feel
I honestly
like it's
believed it was
impossible
not
for you to
mine.
be the father?
I honestly believed it was not mine, Your Honor.
After hearing from Mr. Rogers and his mother, the judge decides to hear from his sister, since she claims to be Ms. Walter's best friend. She gives her response as to whether Ms. Walter had multiple sleeping partners or not.
I know for a fact there was 2 people that she was sleeping with at the time, which was including my brother and the other guy. I know that for a fact. But as far as her sleeping with multiple men, I knew that there was different people, but in that time period, I couldn't per se, during that time period, she slept with 3 or 4 different people. But during that time period, I do know that she slept with 2 people.
Ms. Rogers gets emotional as she explains how hurt she feels about the situation.
I'm not gonna lose her and I'm not gonna lose him, but then my mom comes in and it's killing her because we all grew up together. This is insane for them to even be together like this. That's crazy. That's not supposed to happen. We grew up like, this is my cousin, this is my uncle, like, this is my family. They were never supposed to have sexual contact at all.
She validates that both families are no longer friendly toward each other. Her mom shares her emotions as she cries. Pictures of Mr. Rogers as a child and Ms. Walter's son are on display. The judge asks Mr. Rogers, Ms. Walter, and Ms. Rogers what they think about the resemblance. Here is what they have to say.
And you believe there is a distinct similarity?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Mr. Rogers, do you see it?
No, Your Honor.
You don't?
I see her dad more than anything.
They have
see
the
her
same
dad more than
features,
anything.
the same hair, the eyebrows, the mouth shape, the ears, everything.
I see a lot of Lindsay in him, Your Honor.
Yeah.
How about you, sister? Do you see anything?
I believe he looks like Miss Walter's dad.
What about this other guy? Does anyone know what he looks like?
Nothing like my son.
In this scene of the episode, the judge reveals the results of the DNA test conducted as evidence in the case.
Mr. Rogers, you are his father.
So I know what it's like. And I told myself from day one I was not going to be that person. And now that I know him as father, I can step up and actually be his father.
My son deserves to have his father there. And he's missed out on almost 4 years of his life.
How do you feel, Mom?
I feel guilty now.
Everyone is happy and wants the child to have a full-time family. This case has Ms. Spruell as the plaintiff and Mr. Dixon as the defendant. The judge begins by reading out their claims, to which they both give affirmative answers.
You say you know the exact night you conceived, and he is her father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dixon, you claim that your relationship with Miss Spruell was purely sexual, and one conversation that occurred is the only proof you need that her child is not yours. Is that correct?
Your Honor.
On the one hand, Mr. Dixon presents why he doubts that he is the child's father. The pictorial representation surprises everyone.
One day this is his daughter, the next day it isn't, and I'm tired. I'm irritated.
So he's going back and forth.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't claim this child is mine because I have serious doubts about this child.
Ms. Spruell claims that Mr. Dixon is not being truthful. She reveals something that makes the judge and the audience gasp in surprise. She also reveals the real reason why he always travels to Alabama.
Mr. Dixon ran off to Alabama when his daughter was 1 month old, to say he was working. He wasn't working. He was not working.
You moved
wanna
to
know how?
Alabama to
We
get a better
can't-
job.
Oh, no.
To make more money.
Our
but
daughter,
it's constantly lies that's coming from her.
One at a time.
Our daughter, it wasn't even 7 months. Mr. Dixon had a whole nother child while he was still with me.
She presents the evidence she has, showing that Mr. Dixon claimed her baby when she was born. But now, suddenly, he claims that he has doubts and may not be the father. Here is the evidence she presents.
You say he accepted the baby at first, and this is your evidence to prove it. So this is his page.
And that
he's
is
got-
my baby girl. That is Skya. And he had other pictures of Skya on there as well.
And you claim he's accepting her. He's made her
He was
picture.
he was so happy.
Ms. Spruell testified that Mr. Dixon's family didn't believe she was pregnant. She tells the courtroom the reason.
We come back in 2 weeks together, and guess what? You're 5 weeks, 3 days pregnant. Mr. Dixon was there. We sat in the parking lot afterward, and I asked Mr. Dixon, what do you want to do? He tells me, we gonna be all right. We gonna take care of this baby. 2 weeks later, we let his mother know that I was pregnant. She pretended to be happy-go-lucky about it, but Thanksgiving, all hell breaks loose. Even though he went to the
All
appointment.
she do is
with me.
lie. You don't know what to
You
believe.
went with me. How did I lie?
You don't know
went
what
with
to believe.
So did you go with me to the appointment?
The case is getting heated.
First of all, he wasn't there when she was born. He came 2 days later.
That's a lie.
You didn't.
Well,
She gets emotional and breaks down. The camera pans to a picture of her daughter, and she breaks down even more.
It's not a good feeling. And to have somebody come in and out of your life, it's not fair. If you're gonna be her daddy 24/7. Don't pick and choose your days. Look at that beautiful little girl. She don't deserve that. You shouldn't run in and out of no
Ms.
child's
Dixon,
life.
are you running in and out, Mr. Dixon?
Mr. Dixon claims that Ms. Spruell is always lying. He tells the court that she lied about her baby's health, saying the baby was diagnosed with some medical condition. Here is what he says.
But my dad started playing play when Kamaya constantly lies. Why do you lie? When you instead of saying this baby got blood transfers, 4 or 5 blood transfers.
My baby has
the baby
a
got a
condition
brain
called
problem. The baby
VHD.
got a hole in the heart. Dang, this baby
She has
got
a
this
heart
much
condition
problem and
called
she just got
VHD.
here.
It's called vehicular heart defect.
This baby got here. Why you still lying on this child like that?
Mr. Dixon continues to tell the court what Ms. Spruill told him when they first met. He claims that what she said also makes him doubt that he could be the father of her child.
We got into a relationship, and he was actually helping me with both of my children, not just one. So I feel like...
And what is the issue with that?
He was mad because me and him were, I made a video of him and Skya. They were in the bed. They were laughing and playing.
I don't know what to believe, Your Honor, because all she do is lie. I don't know what to believe. 1 minute, you saying this baby's sick, this and that, the third, but she's not. Then when she really is sick, then that's when you get pissed at me because I don't know if it is true or not.
The judge delivers the verdict on the child's paternity based on the DNA test results.
When it comes to 13-month-old Skya Spruill, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Dixon, you are the father.
Thank you.
You are her father.
Thank you.
Ms. Spruill gets emotional. The truth is out, and everyone can work together to make the child happy.
How do you feel, Mr. Dixon?
I'm excited. I have a beautiful baby girl. I'm gonna be the best father I can, and I'm just glad the truth is out.
The case opens as Ms. Tucker emotionally explains to the judge why she opened the case. The audience reacts as she testifies.
And it's just a lot of confusion in my own mind, and it's very traumatic to me. I'm trying to figure out if he's my father or not to close this chapter in my life.
Tucker claims that Mr. Hunter is her biological father. Mr. Hunter doesn't seem to believe he is her father.
You don't believe you are?
Well, I had doubts because her mother told me that I wasn't 30 years ago, so...
According to Ms. Tucker's mother, Mr. Hunter wasn't a good role model for her daughter.
I told her that someone else was her father at the time in order to protect her. I felt like Mr. Hunter was not a good role model.
Ms. Tucker agrees that her mother was wrong in hiding the truth from her, but she also says that Mr. Hunter should have done something to ensure he got the facts.
I believe the other gentleman was my father. I always grew up only hearing his name. Every weekend, I would be with his family. I never met him. He never was around, but they still showed me a lot of love.
Ms. Tucker recounts an experience she had with Mr. Hunter in the past. He came to her school and pulled her out to tell her something. Here is what he told her.
I was in middle school, and the young woman that is like his daughter, I guess he was there to pick her up, and they called me out of class. This was the first day I ever saw him, and he told me who he was, and he told me that he was my dad. That's what he said. So
Wait, what?
Ms. Tucker goes on to tell the court about when she discovered that Mr. Hunter was her biological father. She found out from her aunt, and she claims she was surprised. Here is what happened that day.
And we were in a car with my aunt, and they have they're a loving relationship, but my aunt's very vocal. And I just was talking about some things that I wanted to do, and my aunt made the comment to my mom that she had not been truthful to me about who my dad was, and she needed to tell me the truth.
A testimony Mr. Hunter gives sheds more light on the case. The judge is convinced that Mr. Hunter's testimony is why Ms. Tucker's mother is unhappy with him.
Did it have something to do with another situation that we were in that she was mad about?
What situation?
Well, I had met a young lady, and come to find out it was Adrian's sister. And I thought that she was happy about that.
So you slept with her sister?
Finally, Ms. Tucker gives the final testimony, which is more about how she feels about the whole case. She deserves to know if Mr. Hunter is her father.
That this is about me, and I feel like both of them are just kind of nonchalant about it, because this is the most I've heard out of all of this time. It took for me to have to take matters into my own hands to get both of them here and answered, and it should not have happened like that, I feel like.
The judge concludes the paternity case by releasing the DNA results. It's pretty surprising.
Who is your daughter's biological father?
It has to be the other guy, because it was just them two. I'm not that girl, so between them, it has to be the other one there. Yes, Shawn.
And where is he?
Not for sure. At this time, he's been gone so long, and then we've been gone. When he left, he never came back.